Sometimes it starts with assumptions. Assumptions can become unspoken rules, which then lead to a culture of institutionalized behavior. So if we start with something like, we need to get Betty out of bed, okay, but then we add, we need to get Betty out of bed so that she can take her tablets safely. Fine, that makes sense. But then it becomes, Betty needs to get out of bed to take her tablets with her breakfast. Okay, so that's 3 things. But then it's when the other things get thrown into the mix that we get into complex situations. So it becomes, we need to get Betty out of bed, washed, dressed, and downstairs in the dining room by 8 a.m. so that she can be given her tablets with her breakfast. Okay, so now this might not be a problem for people who enjoy getting up out of bed really early in the morning, but for Betty it might become a problem if she's used to sleeping in until 11 a.m. for example. She might stay up late to have her, to have a supper, or she might stay up late to watch TV. For whatever reason, Betty might not want to get out of bed and be downstairs by 8 o'clock. But now she's in a care home, there's a pressure for Betty to fit in with the organisation, to fit in with the timescales that cater for large numbers of people. The medication round, the kitchen round, the routines associated with cooking and preparing food, the time available for care assistants to provide personal care. There's a belief sometimes that Betty if she doesn't have her medication by 8 a.m, then it'll be too close to her next dose, which is then at 1 p.m. And of course there's the organisational pressure to, for her to have her medications at particular times during the medication hours. It has to be according to the MAR chart and that kind of thing. And breakfast, if she has a breakfast late, then it might be too close then to lunchtime. And then what if she doesn't eat her lunch? It'll be delayed, and then of course there's the health and safety rules that say that we can't reheat the food. So if Betty doesn't have a lunch, then we can't save it for her because we can't reheat it. So then we think about the washing and the dressing time. Staff might consider that Betty's not, if she's not washed now, then later on they might not have time because then they'll be busy with lunch and they'll be busy with other things, other routines. And what if she's incontinent? Will staff then be accused of neglect if she's not properly washed? What if she gets a pressure sore or a moisture lesion? If she's left in bed until 11 a.m, what if her family come in and then see her and complain that they found her in a dishevelled, wet bed, hungry and thirsty? So then what happens? Betty's got up and is cleaned and has medication and has food, and she lets this happen because she's not independently mobile. She really has no choice. She gets washed, lifted up into a hoist, transferred into a chair, and she's taken to the dining room. But all the time she's protesting and she's resisting because this was not her choice. She looks the part. She's been cared for, hasn't she? She's now fallen asleep in a chair. She's grumpy and she's tired and she's agitated. And can we blame her? We can see just through this one example, really, the complexity involved. There are a number of issues there for staff: organisational pressure, risk aversion, fear of scrutiny, which is a very real thing, and fear of the accusation, and the sense of duty ends up taking over the choices of the person.